सान्द्रानन्दावबोधात्मकमनुपमितं कालदेशावदिभ्या निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनः उरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावत् भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्त भाग्यं जनानाम् अग्रे पश्यामि तेजो निबिडतरकला यावली लोभनीयं पीयूषाप्लावितोऽहं तदुतरे दिव्यकैशोरवेशं तारुण्यारम्भरम्यं परमसुखरसास्वाद रोमाञ्चिताङ्गैः आवीतं नारदाद्यैः विलसदुपनिषत् सुन्दरी मण्डलैश्च
Gurupavanapure Hantabhagyam Janana. Namaskaram to all the Astikas. In the earlier Dashakams, if you remember, we had discussed the birth of Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, two, Diti and Kashyapa Prajapati. At that point in time, we did discuss two aspects. What made them to be born as Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, and later as Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and Shishupala and Dantavakra is, there was a shapam given by the Sanat Kumaras to Jaya and Vijaya, the Dwarapalakas in Karya Vaikuntham, as a result of which they were born. And why did they have to? They were gatekeepers, they were extremely devoted to Bhagavan. Then why did they have to be born in a form where they were extremely vengeful? Because this is what Bhagavan says, Samrambha Yogena, if you have to reach me fast, this is the way. That said, we also discussed the avataram of Varaha. Varaha avataram that was taken to restore Mother Earth, her position, her sanctity, and thereby annihilate the Asura called as Hiranyaksha. Now this Hiranyaksha who was killed by the wild boar, his body reaches the very Sabhamantapam of Hiranyakashipu. This is where we are getting to see two Dashakams, Dashakam 24 and Dashakam 25, that talks about the Avirbhavam of Narasimha and the greatness that is attached to yet a wonderful devotee called Prahlada. So this Prahlada Charitram and Nrisimhavataram is extremely bhakti evoking. That said, here is where in the Sabhamantapam, the body, the mutilated body of Hiranyaksha comes. And that is how this Dashakam begins. Hiranyakshe potri pravarava deva bhavata hate shoka krodha glapita dhrutaretasya sahajaha hiranyah prarambha Kashipuhu amararati sadasi pratignyam atene tavakila vadhartham madhuripo. Hey Deva, Madhuripo, the one who was able to annihilate the Asura called Madhu. We know that there were two Asuras called Madhu and Kaitava. Bhagavan is called Madhuripu because he caused the death of Madhu. Hey Madhuripo, Hiranyakshe hate sati bhavata. When Hiranyaksha was killed by you, Hiranyaksha was being killed by Bhagavan. How? Potri Pravarava Pusha, he came in the form of a wild boar. Etasya sahajaha. And his brother, that is Hiranyakashipu's brother, Hiranyaksha, was killed. Thereby, Hiranyaksha's brother, now his brother, which is Hiranyakashipu, what is his name? Kashipuhu. His name is Kashipu. But does he have that gold tinge, that yellow? Often we interpret Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu as the one whose eyes were gold, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, the one whose body was gold. And immediately children will think gold as a metal has come into their body. We don't have to think that way. We can just say that there is a yellow tinge to their color. So that yellow tinge is very important. That is akin to the metal gold. Gold is very, very auspicious, very popular, very holy in Sanatana Dharma. That is why they say yellow like eyes, Hiranyaksha. Yellow like body, Hiranyakashipu. So he says Kashipuhu, that is his name. How does it begin with? Hiranya Prarambha. He begins with the name Hiranya Prarambha. Hiranya means gold. The other meaning or the other word synonym to gold is Kanaka. So Hiranyakashipu can also be said Kanakakashipu. So who is Prahlada, the son of Kanakakashipu? That is why Tyagaraja, the great saint poet, says, Paramabhagavatamau nivarashashi vibhakara sanaka sanandana Digisha surakim purusha kanakakashipu sutanaradatum buru Pavana sunu bala chandradhara shuka saroja bababu suravarulu Parama pavanulu ghanulu shashpatulu kamala bhava sukhamu sada Nubhava mugakayendaro Mahayanu bhavulu. So Kanakakashipu, Hiranyakashipu. So this Kashipu, whose name begins with Hiranya, Kashipuhu, Hiranya Prarambha, Shoka Krodha Glapita Dhritihi. On one side he was angry that his brother Hiranyaksha's body has been mutilated, killed by that wild boar. On one side he is extremely sorry, filled with grief that his brother is dead. Shoka Krodha Glapita Dhritihi. He's full of grief that such an antisocial element like his brother has been killed. So he feels so bad. Who will trouble this world from now on if my brother is dead? That was his thought. So then, Amara Arati Sadasi Kila Atene Pratignyam. In that sabha, he took a pratigya, he took a vow. Kila Atene Pratignyam. He took a vow. He took a solemn vow. What? Amara Arati Sadasi. In that very assembly, Vadhartam Tava, that I will kill the one who has caused my brother's death. I will kill that Narayana, I will kill that Vishnu. Bhaṭṭatiri takes us through this. But in Bhagavatam, there is another important incident which is mentioned. Even before he says Kute Hite Vishnu and tries to do this Sankalpam, this particular pledge, vow that I will kill. What had happened then? When looking at the body of Hiranyaksha, Hiranyaksha's wife called Rushabhanu and his mother Diti Devi, they were lamenting, crying over Hiranyaksha's death. That is when comes an advice, comes a suggestion, comes a teaching, learning that Atma is eternal. Shariram is perishable. Shariram is not permanent. Shariram will die one day. You have to shed your material body. Whereas Atma is permanent. Do not cry. You know who gave this Upadesham? Hiranyakashipu. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we come across Hiranyakashipu talking about Atma and the difference between the Shariram and the Atma. Then how did he obtain this knowledge, sir? Please understand, he is the son of Kashyapa Prajapati, a Brahmana. He was very learned. Then why did he do this? That is what. So our demeanor, our behavior need not necessarily be associated with our qualification. People who are in the villages, they may not have a doctorate degree, they may not have a postdoctoral research, they may not have patents, but they will know that once you use some paper, you have to throw it in the dustbin. But when you end up going to stations and airports, you will see Pratyaksha Pramanam, people with multiple degrees just throwing the bottle right on the road. So qualifications do not necessarily translate into good etiquette and demeanor. So when we look at Hiranyakashipu, who comes in the lineage of Kashyapa, having learned the Vedas, why did he behave like this? So on one side he will give this Upadesham, the other side he will take a pledge. At that point in time he tells his sister-in-law and his mother all this Upadesham and says, finally after having done this Upadesham he says, Amara arati sadasi vadhartam tava kila atene pratigyam tava vadhartam. He takes a vow that he will kill you. Next shloka. Now he has to go and receive powers to even take on Narayana. Vidhataram ghoram sakhalu tapasitva nachirataha purasakshat kurvan suranara mrigadhyaira nidhanam varam labdhva dripto jagadiha bhavan nayakamidam parikshundan nidrada harata divam tvamaganayan saha khalu ghoram tapasitva. Then he went into the woods and was into very heavy austerities. Ghora tapasya. Ghoram tapasitva. All these asuras were very hard working. You cannot take them lightly. They were very hard working. Ghora tapasitva. What happened as a result of that Ghora tapas? Sakshat kurvan vidhataram. Vidhataram. Brahma, Chaturmukha Brahma, Sakshat Brahma appeared. Sakshat kurvan. Puraha na chirataha labdhva. Before him, without having obtained any delay and having obtained that varam anidhanam, the boon. He wanted to obtain the boon of freedom from death. So he said varam anidhanam, I should never be killed. But will Brahma give that? No, Brahma said, see, that is not possible. If someone is born taking a material body, they have to leave it. Ask some other way. That is when he said, Sura Nara Mrigadyehi. Sura Nara Mrigadyehi. I should not be killed by animals. I should not be killed by humans. I should not be killed by devas. I should not be killed during the day. I should not be killed during the night. I should not be killed inside my house. I should not be killed outside my house. I should not be killed in Akasham. I should not be killed in Bhumi. I should not be killed by any object that is animate. I should not be killed by any object that is inanimate. Brahma started sweating. How many boons has he asked? Sura Nara Mrigadyehi. And then finally he asked one boon. He said, I should not be killed by Brahma. Brahma, I should not be killed by anyone who falls under the ambit of your creation. You should have not created them. Brahma took a long breath because there is someone who has created Brahma. So he said, Druptaha san aganayan tvam. Then puffing up with pride as if he has won over death. He didn't realize that he has committed a grave mistake. Aganayan tvam. He didn't even regard you. Parikshundan idam jagat iha. He went around the world telling, see how I have won over death. He had not won over death, but he assumed he had won over death and went about the entire world, blowing the trumpet. Yes, I have won over death. Parikshundan idam jagat iha bhavan nayakam, which has you as its lord. Aharata divam indrat, captured the Devaloka from Indra. He went, he showed his power, captured the Devalokam from Indra. He showed that you Devas are subservient to me, how powerful I am. So this has a lesson for us. The lesson is very simple. Every Asura, after so much of tapas, so much of hard work, they will ask one thing, I have to win over death. It's a simple process. Atma is never born, so it will never die. Krishna tells this in Bhagavad Gita. But that Atma goes one body after the other. So the body is born. One that is born has to die one day. So this body we have to shed. You are all listening. One day you have to shed your body. I am speaking, I have to shed this body. But the Atma in us will not die. The Atma will obtain a Sukshma Sharira, go to another mother's garbham or may get moksha. So time and again asking this winning over death is the habit of Asuras, which means despite hard work, they do not know how to channelize their energy and boons. This is very important for us. Whatever knowledge we obtain in the mundane world through our degrees or Adhyatma Shastra, we should channelize it in such a way that we are able to obtain the quintessential knowledge about paramatma. That knowledge, that education system which doesn't give you knowledge of paramatma nor about the impermanence of the body is a useless tinsel. This is what we understand from this episode of Hiranyakashipu, who obtained the so-called powerful boons from Brahma without knowing that what he had committed was a grave mistake, ends up, misusing his boons, showcasing his undue power. But what will happen to him? Will there be somebody to check his arrogance? More in the next episode.
कल्याणरूपाय कलौ जनानां कल्याणदात्रे करुणासुधाब्दे कंवादिदिव्यायुधसत्कराय वातालयाधीश नमो नमस्ते। नारायण 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 नारायण